Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Today, I'd like to talk about something that's a huge source of confusion for many of the members of our GPS for Love community. And it may be one of the things that causes you to struggle in your love life. And that thing is not understanding that a relationship is a commitment and not an obligation. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let's first off start by defining what's the difference between an obligation and a commitment. Well, see, a commitment is something that you willingly choose to give your attention to. It's something that you willingly choose to spend your time, energy, and efforts in. Where an obligation is a burden. It's something you feel you have to do, because behind the obligation is the fear that if I don't do it, it's going to cause me some kind of pain and I'm not going to get the results that I really want. See, a commitment is a joy. It's something that you choose to do because you want to, because you know it's right and what's best for you. And a burden is simply something you feel you have to do because it's based on fear. So what I want you to do, and let me give you an example of this. There was a time in my life where I was engaged to someone and I was in a relationship, and I'm the type of guy, when I commit to something, I give it 110%. So I was committed to this person and I was going to do everything to make her happy and make the relationship work. And the reality was I was miserable. I wasn't getting the things that I needed to make me happy. And so that relationship really became a burden for me. And what I ultimately learned is that no matter how much I try to make the relationship work, no matter how much I try to make her happy, no matter how much I try to make things better, no matter how hard I BS myself into believing that things are going to change or things are going to get better, the reality was I was really unhappy and I wasn't getting the things that I needed. And I knew it. I knew it in my heart. I knew it in my soul, but I was afraid to move on. And so that relationship was simply a burden for me. And so as a result of that experience, I took a lot of mirror time. Really took a good look at myself and say, why did I stay in this relationship where I really wasn't happy? Why did I stay with someone who I knew wasn't giving me the things that I really needed to make me happy? And why did I BS myself into believing that things were going to get better? And as a result of that, I came up with 3 questions. And that really helped me differentiate the difference between a commitment and a a commitment and an obligation. And so what I want you to do is you might want to write these down. You actually might want to go back and watch this a couple times to really ingrain these into your memory, because this is going to make your life so much easier as you go forward. So the first question is, does this person consistently appreciate and respect my presence in their life? It sounds pretty easy. Do they appreciate me? I don't mind sacrificing for someone, because in relationships, there are going to be times where you need to sacrifice. There are going to be times where you need to put your needs and desires on the back burner to make the other person happy, to make the relationship work, to sacrifice for whatever reasons. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's healthy. It's what healthy people do in a relationship. A relationship is a give and take. But is the other person consistently appreciating and respecting that you're doing that? Because when you're being taken for granted, you're not being appreciated. It's a sign that it's not about the relationship. It's all about the other person and their stuff. And it's not a healthy place for a relationship to be. The second question that I've learned is that, does this person's actions, not their words, do their actions consistently show me that they're on the same page? Do their actions consistently show me that they want the same things, that they have the same goals, they have the same values, they had the same morals, not only now, but in the future? Are we headed in the right direction? Do we want the same things out of life? And is that clear? Are their actions consistently showing that? Because one of the pitfalls for me is that my ex was telling me what I wanted to hear. And I think because she was just dealing with her own stuff, she was kind of in denial herself, because I think she was afraid to face the truth as well. And so as a result of that, we were both kind of telling each other what we wanted to hear, but the reality was consistently we weren't getting what we needed in order for us to be happy. So it's important that you understand is that the other person's actions need to consistently show you that they're on the same page and they want the same things. Okay. And the third one, and this is really simple. If you want, I'm all about getting through the BS and getting crystal clear and how to figure things out really, really quickly. So this one question simply did it. And that's, does this relationship consistently work for me? Again, you're going to have moments. There are going to be times where you get pissed off at each other. There's some confusion. There's some frustration because of, we're just human beings. We all have our stuff. But the simple question, does this relationship consistently work for me, is really going to give you the answer. It's going to cut right through the chase. And the way you know that is by you simply take a good look in the mirror and say, are my needs being met? Are the things that I need that are vital to me, to my health, to my mental sanity, to my happiness, are those consistently being met? Because they either are or they aren't. And if they're not, from my experience, it's usually a sign that you're not in the right and healthy relationship. Again, because even if you're in a relationship where you have to sacrifice, your needs are going to be met. You know, the other person is going to say, hey, I appreciate you. I understand that you're sacrificing. I love you so much for what you're doing and how you're helping me get through this. And so you're going to feel good about that. That's a sign of a really, really healthy relationship. So I know I threw a lot at you today. So what I want you to do is go back, watch this over again, and maybe write these down, and then simply look at these 3 questions and go back over your past. You know, take that mirror time and look at your past relationships. If you're married before, look at that. If you're in a relationship now and you're questioning, is this the right person for me? You know, really take a good look at these questions and answer them honestly. And then once you do, I want you to go ahead and in the box below, put in your comments. You know, I want to hear from you, because nothing is ever a mistake if you learn from it. I call it an expensive learning lesson. You know, everything that I went through in my past, the 3 years of emotional hell, were a very expensive learning lesson that caused me to see what I needed to do differently to create the relationship that I ultimately wanted. And I know I wouldn't have the marriage that I have today and the relationship that I have today if I didn't go through all that stuff and learn from it. So don't look at it as something bad. Look at it as an expensive learning lesson that you can actually use to make the future and the relationship you really want the best it can be. As always, it's an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much love.